Good evening. I have the time as 7:30, so I will call the public hearing and regular business meeting of the Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, July 27th, 2026 to order. We do have a quorum. All members are present. We'll start tonight with an invocation to be given by Council Member Rochelle Brown.
Gracious Father, we come to you tonight just saying thank you. Thank you for bringing us here together as leaders. Lord, we ask for your vision, your insight, and your blessing that this night is dedicated back to you. As we go through this, Lord, give us vision and insight and wisdom to make decisions that will be better for not only ourselves, but for the future of this city. Lord, we give you the glory and the honor and praise for resources and opportunities. We thank you for each person that's in this room. We ask that your glory and your presence be felt in this place. And as we leave this place, know that we are productive parts of making change in a city that we love. We give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Rochelle. And for those who are able, if you'll please stand for the pledge to the flag to be led by Mayor Pro Tem Norman Carter. Thank you, Norman. We have no ceremonial matters, so we'll move to the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of July 13th, 2026.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor, so none are opposed. We have no invited guests or department reports, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as published.
There's a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
With a motion and a second, all in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We have 2 items under our public hearing. We'll start with item A, and I will go ahead and read just some instructions here on how the public hearing will be run, and this will apply to both hearings. In order to help everyone have an equal opportunity to be heard and minimize distractions, I ask the audience to please silence or turn off any electronic communication devices. I would like to remind everyone present that this is an official public meeting at which important business is conducted, and it is a legal process. The city attorney has advised the council that audience outbursts, including applause, has been used by the courts to overturn zoning decisions. Therefore, I ask that you refrain from applause and all other extraneous remarks. Each side will be allowed a total of 15 minutes for support and 15 minutes in opposition. This is not per person, but in total. So you may wish to consider coordinating any arguments beforehand or consider having a spokesperson present your position. If council members ask questions of you, it will not be deducted from your time. Should you have the opportunity to come to the microphone to make a comment in support or in opposition to any of the requests before us, please state your name and address for the public record before beginning. Also, you will only be given one opportunity to speak. Please also direct all of your comments to myself and the council and not to the applicant or another speaker. I'll first ask our planning director, Jason Thompson, to introduce the case. The council will have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Thompson. The applicant may also come forward and present their case. Then I will open the floor to public comment once we've heard the presentation of the case. All right, so Mr. Thompson, let me read. Item A, second reading, SUP 26-01, consideration and action on application by Shane Swayze, Principal, Parkview Christian School, who's the applicant, and John Weldon, pastor at Westside Baptist Church, the property owner, requesting a special use permit to operate a private K-8 Christian school within the existing church facility on the 4.402 acre site, and variance from section 206-4-1J, use standards of Article 6, Chapter 200 of the Snellville Unified Development Ordinance for the property zoned RS30 Single Family Residential District at 2925 Main Street West, Snellville, Georgia, tax parcel 5007004A. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, public, for being here tonight. We have an SUP application for a private school, the Parkview Christian School, at the campus of the 2925 Main Street West, Westside Baptist Church, as you can see, which is located on the corner of McGee and Highway 78. From what I understand, what I remember, the principal, Mr. Swayze, came in and was kind of had his hair on fire. They had a spot for their school for several years, and they ended up losing it. Pretty much right before it was time to renew for the next school year. So he came in and they had an agreement with the Westside Baptist Church, and it was a great fit from the beginning. From what I can tell, the school building that exists on that property was built specifically for an institutional type private school, but was no longer being used. So seemed like a pretty good fit for the Parkview Christian School to move on over. They have a moderate sized school. Yeah, I'm trying to find how many students. I'll let him speak on that, but not very large, and would fit inside of and work well with the existing infrastructure that's in place. Due to our UDO, it does require that any kind of educational facility to be operated have an SUP, just given some of the challenges with ingress and egress, school, parent lines, drop-offs. And as you can see, it's got good ingress and egress. It actually has a pathway around the school that integrates exactly into what it was originally used for. There are a few use standards that are associated with schools, and I'll go through these. They needed some small variances to be able to meet these standards, but overall the intent and the use of the property are 100% compliant with the existing campus and the adjoining properties. So one of the standards is that it has to have a minimum lot size of 5 acres. Just a little bit short at 4.54, so they've requested and we've recommended approval that they be allowed to reduce the minimum lot size requirement to 4.54 acres. They meet the 100 foot of road frontage, the minimum 10-foot wide buffer is required along the side and rears. As you can see, is pretty much surrounded by trees everywhere, and then to the north you have the South Gwinnett Park, and then even to the south you have another academy. So there's really no mixture of uses or any kind of adverse impacts there that would require that. And the facilities and building to serve for school use only. That basically meant we didn't want, back in, we started seeing some of these schools pop up in tenant buildings and shopping centers that triggers a lot of other issues with parking, shared parking, access, ingress. So that was one of the standards. Obviously they meet it, that the school building, even though attached to the church, is separate and of its own and is not part of a multi-tenant shopping facility. Oh, and here we go. According to the applicant, current enrollment is 80 students with a maximum of 130, with a maximum staff of up to 20. Families will drop off and pick off on McGee Road. And to further assist with any congestion reduction, the school will implement a staggered dismissal schedule, which is pretty standard. K through 2 a certain time, 3 through 8 another time. In conclusion, we recommend approval with the recommended variances as recorded in ordinance number 2026-05. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions of council for Mr. Thompson?
I know, Mr. Thompson, I have one. Just quickly, can you explain how the church is, the reason for special usage, how we apply it in this case, particularly with the church, so that our citizens understand how we applied it and we're not showing favoritism?
Yeah, well, in this case, a special use permit is required for any educational school which is defined as having a curriculum as set by the state or some process. So church or not, we'd be having this same discussion. It just happens to be on a church property. So, which is the case a lot of times, that it just wasn't being used. Actually, the perfect fit. But if this were on its own parcel, it would go through the same process. It just happens to be the church making the application because they own the property. Yes, sir.
Anyone else of council with a question for Mr. Thompson? Thank you, sir. Is the applicant present? If you'd like to come forward and present your case for us.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Shane Swayze. I am the principal of Parkview Christian School. Very grateful for this opportunity to be here this evening to share the hopes and dreams of our school, our institution, and our families. Before anything else, expressing my sincere gratitude to the city of Snellville and the planning department. Mr. Thompson, he is not incorrect in saying my hair was on fire. And the timeline was very compressed, and he was part of not only managing us through those steps, but by encouraging us that it was indeed possible, but by the grace of God. So we have been supported, heard, and treated with professionalism throughout this process. To give you a quick background, Parkview Christian School has been faithfully serving children and their families in Gwinnett County for over 33 years. We started as a small ministry, have grown into a thriving Christ-centered K-8 school, recently fully accredited through the Georgia Accrediting Commission and a winner of the Best of Gwinnett Award for the past 4 years. Throughout those 3 decades, we have maintained the same mission, which is to partner with parents, quite a novel idea in education in many areas now, but to partner with them to provide an education that nurtures both the mind and the heart. And so our school has deep roots in the Lilburn community. That's where we have been for 33 years, but we are excited about this opportunity to begin a new chapter here in Snellville. Through our partnership with Westside Baptist Church, we believe that there is, in fact, a gap in faith-based education, especially in grades K through 12 in the city of Snellville, and I think we will fill that well in our role here. We're very grateful for the church, for just the providence of God that there happened to be a school building that used to hold Gwinnett Christian Academy 20 years ago that sat on the property, seemingly waiting for us to arrive. We have currently estimated 86 students. We are a small school. We are intentionally small. We have class sizes between 6 and 12 students. We believe that teachers who know their students individually, who are able to assess their talents and their God-given abilities, are able to actually best steward those children in the future. And so this location is an excellent fit, as Mr. Thompson outlined. It can't really get much better. You are connected with a church nearby to a daycare and preschool, butted up in the rear to the local park. And so it's really a hub from the earliest of ages through the school day and after school activities. It doesn't get much better than that. We've already actually worked closely with the Parks Department, who are willing to rent the connected field, as you can see in that picture, for our PE days. So they're actually on board and excited to even use their property and to help assist us in the education and nurturing of our children. Operations are limited to normal school hours. We are committed to maintain that connection and no overlap with the church function and the church usage of the building, maintain the best for safety and security for our students and families, and committed to being responsible stewards of the property and to the neighbors in our community. as a Christian school, we teach our students that the second of the greatest commandments is to love our neighbors as ourselves. And so our goal in this process is to have that not just be something we teach in the classroom, but something that we live out as an organization. And so our great desire, if approved, is that we are able to serve families in Snellville, invest in children, their children, support our local community through our service days, which we actually have intentionally built in to our school calendar. They count as school days, but we get out into the community and serve different organizations as volunteers, because there is no more important thing for students to have them look outside of themselves in this day and age. We have lots of talk of how to esteem ourselves, but very little talk of how to esteem others. And so we want to do that well and become a positive and lasting part of this city. So on behalf of our students, our families, the staff of PCS, our school board, and our new and very excited partners at Westside Baptist Church, we thank you for your time, your consideration, and we would ask you to please allow us to move forward with this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Are there any council members with questions for Mr. Swayze? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, this is a public hearing, so I will open the floor to public comment. If there is anyone who would like to speak either for or against this application, please come forward and give your name and address for the record.
Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks. I wish there were more churches that did this. It seems like a win-win situation for our kids. My question was, at planning and zoning, was the recreation area, which has all been satisfied in my eyes. I understand that the playground is being revamped to go away from 78 and back toward the back of the church. Like I said, it's a win-win situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak either for or against this application? Seeing none, then I will close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion of council.
Motion to approve ordinance 2026-05 with conditions as listed.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any discussion by council? Then seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor, so none are opposed. Congratulations. All right, so that completes item A. We'll move to item B. We have second reading, CIC 2601, consideration and action on application by SBG Planners and Engineers, the applicant, and Shifka Real Estate Investments, LLC, the property owner, requesting a change in conditions from the July 22nd, 2024 approved rezoning and special use permit RZ 24-03, SUP 24-01 for a 171-unit multifamily town center flat development to increase the number of units for a total of 239, which has been amended to 203 units on a 2.677 acre site, zone TCR, Town Center Residential District, for a proposed 5-story town center flat residential building with, a few of these things have been modified. We'll go over those in just a second. Residential building with 239 mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units located in the Town Center Overlay District at 2380 Wisteria Drive, Snellville, Georgia, tax parcel 5038133. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go through kind of the start to finish on this. It's had a couple of iterations since we originally improved it. I believe back in 2024, it was originally approved under this plan, which was 171 units with the parking on the odd piece, if you kind of understand the property. Here's the Ryan's track, but it also has this kind of additional dogleg thin piece of property that touches the Greenway path and actually borders some neighbors over on Eastwood on the other side there. So this was originally approved back in 2024 under RZ 24-03 and SUP 24-01. It was 171 units, and I was looking for the actual parking spaces, but we'll get to that. So
It was
238?
268, I think.
268.
me
Okay, so
see.
we started off with 268.
I'm
Good.
sorry, 248.
248, it's going to remain 248. That's the one thing that's going to stay the same. The parking, as you see now, it will be the same. The numbers remain the same. So this is what we approved. Everything fronts the building. Just a little reminder, they access here. This is called pylon parking, where the building is actually above the parking lot, and it creates on what you would consider kind of like you've seen at Atlantic Station, where they built the parking underneath, and then it allows them to utilize the space when you're dealing with a small space like this, 2.2 something acres. There's not a lot of places to put parking, so typically it's either underground or some kind of pylon system like this. So this was what was originally approved, 5/14/24 it looks like. Okay. So then we received a change in conditions originally from the applicant, and they wanted to add from 170, initially from 171 up to 239, which was 68 units, which would involve a 5-story. 1 story is parking underneath, that's your first story, 4 stories above for the length of that parcel. There was some concern from residents and about the unit counts, the parking, which when this was built, since they're not able to produce any more parking, would reduce the parking counts more to a 1 space per unit. It was originally designed to have 1.5 per unit, thereabouts. So between the time of the Planning Commission and the mayor and council meeting, the applicant has proposed a compromise between what they asked for, what they were originally granted, that allows for an additional 39 units from 171 to 203. The parking remains, the ratio is something a little bit less than 1.25 spaces per unit. They've also reduced the size of this building by half and also by 1 story. So it'll be 1 story of parking, the bottom floor, and then 3 of a building, and that's where your additional 39 units will be proposed. Again, at the time of original application, they met the parking at 1.5. At the original request for the change, they still met our parking, which is 1 unit per space, and I'd like to take a little time to kind of deviate in how we got there in the town center. So when we adopted the comprehensive plan that was focused on the whole city, but there was a section of the downtown area. How are we going to build it? What are the appropriate codes? We looked into these things with the ordinance writer at the time, and also what we wanted to do in the UDO, and we took a step back from your typical parking planning where you induce large minimums. And what people have found in infill and redevelopment specifically is when you're dealing with lots that are misconfigured or smaller, and you try to add density into your town center, which is where the comprehensive plan, the UDO stated that we add our density. You need to allow some kind of form of design flexibility. And also we took the policing out of minimums that the city was inducing and put it back on the developer. And what I mean to say is, if there's 200 units and they can only park 175, They only have 175 units. So it behooves the developer to design and implement a parking plan that allows them to get to those units. If they don't have spaces for their units, people aren't going to live there. So instead of being the policing agency on every little piece of infill in the county or in the city, in the town center, we reduced that to 1-to-1, and they meet that here. They met it originally, and they met it with their proposed plan initially as well. So all that to say, they're in compliance with the parking. The spaces remain the same. They added 39 units. Outside of that, there is a bioretention area shown here on the other side of the greenway path. Just a little bit on those. They're actually, the state has just decided that where you can, to introduce more environmentally friendly, or I don't know what the good place is, to introduce more local flora, fauna. And what happens is, as the underground detention works here, and it trickles down, before it's released back into the drainage basin, which is back over this way behind the office suites, it'll sit in that pond, and there'll be cattails or whatever is native to Georgia, and it will create a little biosphere there. So it becomes more of a aesthetically pleasing stormwater management apparatus, instead of just a hole with dust in it and some outlet structures. If you want to see what one of those looks like, look right behind north side, and you can see what massive detention looks like. That was detention designed to catch so much water. There was no other way. But in places like this, when you let it out, it provides some aesthetics and also buffers the adjacent property here, which is a home over off on Eastwood. So with all that in mind, with the compromise in place, we recommend approval of the redesigned plan, which you see now with the 203 units and associated parking and detention. And I'd be happy to answer any questions for anyone, since this was some time ago that we considered the first one as well. So any questions?
Are there any questions of council? Councilmember Hardrick?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Jason. Can you please explain, you just were speaking about the detention center
ma'am.
here. How close is it to this home that you mentioned? And the second piece is, was that a part of the original application that was approved?
Let me see if I can find an overhead.
Thank you, sir.
I may have to bring that back. I don't have a, let's see. Oh, it's gonna be hard to see. In the house, it's up in here somewhere. I'd have to look at.
I thought, so if you look at the previous photo,
Oh, do you see it?
well,
Is that it?
I can't see where your hand is. Look what your
I
screen
think
is.
this
Yeah.
is it.
So when you point it on where the trees are, slide it up, please, to the green trees. Yep.
Okay.
And to your right of that tree, right there.
Yeah, this is a
okay.
property line.
Right. So is it a property to the right of that?
There is in the house, if you kind of look up here, you see it off the end. I would say it's, don't hold me to this.
No,
I'm
sure.
Draftsman, okay?
Sure.
Probably somewhere in here.
Okay.
Somewhere. That's not
Sure.
scaled.
Absolutely.
But they're definitely on that neighborhood. If you know there's a stream that kind of runs either in front of your house or behind it, and this is the ones with the front of it. So the setbacks are a little bit further back. And I think that homeowner just moved in maybe like a year and a half ago. Guys.
So then the question would be, was that
get
included
you.
in the original plan?
It says existing, no. So the bioretention is not there in the top one.
Okay.
So they were capturing it all underground and sending it. I'll let the engineer
Oh,
speak a little more about the
okay.
stormwater too, because I'm not a
Thank
stormwater
you.
designer.
And the reason that I was asking is because of the concern of the
Yeah, fair
stormwater
enough.
rolling over into our citizens. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Jason, does the homeowner own that entire property from the end of the property line of this property in question to the home, that's all one property, correct?
Back here?
Yes.
Yeah, and they kind of sliver off. They've got some different kind of
Right.
shapes. Some kind of come to the end, but most of them are pretty much like 150 feet of frontage all the way down. Or rearage, I guess you would call it on that side. Frontage on the Greenway Trail.
Yeah, that house is a pretty good distance away
Is that
from
more
where that would
represented?
be, and it's heavily wooded.
Yeah.
According
There
to-
is a lot of pines and stuff in there. I agree. I think this would actually be better for it, long-term, for the neighbors, sorry. Because you're going to get some nice plantings, probably be evergreen type stuff too. You can do a lot against that thing, against that property line.
And just to clarify with something Councilmember Hardrick just said about water runoff into that neighbor,
Oh, yeah, no,
the stormwater requirements require all of that, all of this property's development, all of its water to stay on this property and to be released slowly. So there should not be
it
water
actually,
runoff.
typically what you see in circumstances like this, if there was any kind of water issue previously, is that it gets corrected, because as of now, the water just rolls where it goes. If it flows off Orion's, I mean, stormwater really didn't even really exist then. They don't even have a pond over there. So it just kind of gives you an idea of how much more stringent it's become. So the way the law works is they have to capture that. And when they redevelop even a brown site, whatever you want to call it, they have to, there's a process where they have to revert it back to almost undeveloped conditions to catch, not try to be too technical, the curve number or the displacement of water. So basically they have to go back and decide what a field would produce, not asphalt, and then they have to regulate it at that, meaning they have to hold it longer, and it has to leach out at a rate that's less than a field. So it actually improves a lot of this stuff, especially against neighborhoods where there is stormwater issues. There's not really anything going on the other side of that property. There's the old pond that's not old, but the major pond that's behind the office suites that catches most of that water now naturally. So what it would do is it would collect everything off the rooftops, the parking lot, everything inside those perimeters. They have to run the water back, collect it, put it initially, slowly release it from the tanks underground into that little pond. At a certain level, there's an outlet structure where it would leak out, and it can only leak out so fast. So they actually, long story short, they control it a lot more than it is controlled right now. In most cases. Now, that's not every case. Sometimes there's always stormwater problems, but usually places like this, they're better off when it's over for the neighbors in that regard.
Any other
that good?
questions for Mr. Thompson? Thank you, Mr. Thompson. And now is the applicant present? If you'd like to come forward and present your case. You'll have 15 minutes, so if you don't use all your time after public comment, you'll have time for a rebuttal.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. As someone who grew up with a father that held a seat very similar to yours in many different capacities, I appreciate you taking time away from your loved ones to be here tonight in a civic capacity. It's a very honorable thing to do, in my opinion. 2380 Wisteria Drive is not new here. With this rezone originally happened in 2024. This is the original plan that was approved. So 2380 Wisteria Drive, if you're coming in off of Highway 78, this is one of the first properties that is in that town center overlay district. So this improvement will improve the streetscape along Wisteria Drive going into the main town center district, as well as improve the landscape along the back side and the rear property on the Snellville Greenway. The updated concept plan and request for additional density aligns with the town center portion of the 2040 comprehensive plan for town center residential districts. The architectural style will meet or exceed town center residential requirements, including a combination of materials such as glass, brick, siding, metal, and cast stone. wanna say, yeah, let's put this up here for a second. So here you kind of see where the property is positioned along Wisteria Drive. So it's one of those very first things that you see when you're coming in off of 78. I don't know about y'all and how you get here. I came from Athens today, so this is how I came in today. In 2024, this was approved, this land was approved for a rezone, as Jason presented, for Town Center Flats and a 5-story building with 171 units. And this was that original plan. The building is in the shape of an E with the main facade along Wisteria Drive. And there is the pylon, we like to call it podium, pylon parking, podium. If you are going down Hugh Drive, it drops about 1 story. So the first level of the parking is kind of at ground level, kind of first level once you're on Wisteria Drive. So we did most of the parking underneath the building to maximize the use of this site. And after the site plan was approved, the owner went and started to look for developers between 2024 and 2026. Between 2024 and 2026, he was not able to find a developer that was willing to take on a development under 200 units. They simply said they couldn't make the plan feasible due to the cost of construction and required improvements and to meet market demand, which is the cost that the average buyer can afford. So we're talking about making a unit available to somebody who wants to live and work in Snellville. The present day request is for a change in conditions to the rezone. We're not asking for a variance or anything of the sort. We're asking for change in conditions to include a second building and to increase the total count from 171 units to 203 units. As you heard, we had previously asked for 239 at the Planning Commission meeting, but we heard some of the comments and we've reduced that back down to 203. To make this development feasible, meet the market demand, and ultimately maintain affordability, we need to, this is to make the development feasible, meet the market demand, and to ultimately maintain affordability of the units for future residents. And these changing conditions are meant to meet the needs of the client and the public. So on June 23rd, the Planning Commission presentation included a 5-story building that went all the way to the rear of the property where the greenway is. And it also had 5 stories with a total of 60 units, making the parking ratio 1.04 spaces per unit. Then we heard the concerns of the Planning Commission, kind of felt like a huge jump from where we originally were. So we would like to present reducing to 4 stories, reducing the length of the building by half. So we're now only going halfway down that dog leg parcel. And we have reduced the unit count to only 24 units in this building. And that increases the parking ratio to about 1.22 spaces per unit. And if you are interested in the podium parking and how that works, please ask me afterwards. It's a little hard to explain. Or ask me during questions. I'll take the time, it's okay. So the approved land use chart, we are increasing the total units from 171 units to 203 units. The parking will remain the same. So we went from a previous parking ratio of about 1.4 spaces per unit to now about 1.2 spaces per unit. And I'd also like to note that there are 44 one-bedroom units. So if we take into account 1 parking space for those units and back that away, we're back to 1.4 spaces for the rest of the units. And this is above code requirement too. Code requirement is 1 space per 1 unit, so we're proposing anywhere from 20 to 40% over code minimum. And these are the updated elevations. So if you look at the second line, you can see the ghosted elevation in the background that is going down the dogleg parcel. And this is in comparison to what it was before, in between the Planning Commission meeting and now. So we're hoping that the Planning Commission feels heard, that their comments have been addressed. We have a view from Wisteria Drive and what could be in the amenity area. And to answer a question, I was trying so hard to hold my tongue. I know you were struggling. I was like, oh, I have a page right here. So the neighbors, I'm so glad you asked because I prepared an exhibit. There are neighbors 537 length feet, 427 length feet, and 345 length feet from the back corner of the building. All of the existing forest to remain is all the neighbors. We can't touch it. We can't do anything about it. And as far as the stormwater goes, so pre and post development, you did a fantastic job explaining. Pre and post development. So right now, the property, as it's sat for the last 2 years, is an old steakhouse with pavement wall to wall. When it was built, there wasn't really any stormwater requirements. Now you have to make sure that your post-development runoff, after you've built everything, does not exceed the amount of water that was running off prior. And in addition to that, because it's a brownfield site, we have to do some remediation, so we have to capture even more than what we would typically be doing on a greenfield site. The bioretention pond would be designed for a 100-year storm, so it would have to be a 100-year storm for it to have the outfall structure, which is the emergency spillway, go into the storm system. And then beyond that, we would have to have a 200-year storm for it to fail and maybe go into the neighbors' yards. But like Jason was explaining, this would be an improvement from the current conditions that does not have any stormwater facilities on the property. So right now, all of that pavement is just pouring right onto them. And there is no bioretention pond to catch any of that. And with the reduction of the building, we also have the ability to look at underground detention under the surface parking now. So we can eliminate the bioretention pond entirely if that is a concern. And the underground detention would be hooked up to the city stormwater system, so there would never be any above ground flow, leaving the greenery in the back undisturbed. So we have options now. But I'd also like to maintain that this change in conditions is to increase the unit count from 171 to 203 and permit the second building. And we would be happy to talk about any concerns with public works and public utilities about detention requirements and stormwater requirements that might hurt the neighbors. In addition, we're also thinking about the neighbors' sight lines. We've estimated the elevation of the neighbors in the cul-de-sac adjacent to them, and I think that's why their lot lines are kind of triangular. The approximate sight lines, they would have to go through a forest and trees to see the top of the development. They would be largely undisturbed. If I owned that home, I'd be personally okay. I don't think I would ever see it. With that, I thank the mayor and council for hearing our request. And do I take questions now? Any questions?
Yes, if there's questions. Yes. But can I get your name?
Elizabeth Swift.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any questions of council for the applicant?
I have a question.
Yes.
Looking to, can you back up to where it shows parking and everything?
Oh, keep going.
Have you considered, or would you consider, looking ahead to protecting any potential residents, gating the parking? At this point, there is no other shaded or covered parking on kind of that end of the town center overlay. So my concern would be with such tight parking for the number of units, that should there be an event or something going on, or as downtown continues to evolve, those parking spaces need to be protected for those residents.
Yeah, gated parking is absolutely an economical option that we could implement and would be open to discussing with the developer.
Can you go back a few slides? I would like to know where your garbage pickup is and where the access to garbage would be, because it's not listed here. I see the loading,
Yes.
but there is no access to that. So how would a garbage truck, or where would the garbage location be for pickup?
So this is where we get into the podium parking. I'm trying to decide which one would be easiest to explain. So the loading zone that is on the red area on the, can you see behind? Do you have screens in front of you? Okay. That red area, that is ground floor. So when you're driving on the podium parking underneath, when you're entering from Hugh Drive, you're driving straight up to that loading zone. So when you're turning off of Hugh, you're going to be looking at those dumpsters behind the trees. So the garbage truck would pull in, they'd pick it up, they would have the clearance because there is nothing above them right there, and then they would turn and then go back out.
Ms. Swift, can you put your hand on the little, you can point on it, we can see that, can't we? Yeah. Turn it on, yeah.
Oh, aha, I got the little pointer thing. Okay, so right here, this is that loading service zone, okay? And this level right here is the same level as this. So this building right here is above, but over here, it looks like it's the first floor, and over here, it looks like it's the second. On the back, you would be able to drive in, and then the loading service zone would be right here. So also this is where deliveries or anything of the sort would come, mail. You pull in, you do your business, and then you come around the podium parking, and you come back out.
So when you go in, go up a few slides to what the face of the building would look like. So you're telling me that overhang and where it's open, where the garage is, look on the second one, that's gonna be tall enough to have a garbage truck come in and go all the way around, empty the garbage, and then come back out?
Everything for the development will be designed to code for anything that is required by trash, public utilities, waste requirements, any requirements set forth by the planning department. We are asking for no variances. I do not particularly know the height of it, but I do know that we are not asking for a variance for that height. So I would assume it's being built to code.
And so you don't know how tall it's gonna be?
It will be tall enough to accommodate the largest fire truck in the fire department, which is what I believe to be the largest vehicle in the fleet of the public utility or the public works and the utilities department. I do not know the exact dimension that the clearance will be, but it will meet all code requirements.
Anyone else? Yep. Catherine.
Could you speak to why the applicant wanted these additional units and not just stay with the approved plan?
Yes. So the cost of construction now has kind of created this magic number to get a unit or a home to a sellable level for the average consumer, because that's their target. Most of the consumers are average consumers. Increasing the number of units decreases the cost per unit. So each renter would be paying a little bit less for the overall construction of the development. So increasing the number of units allows them to keep the rent at a rate that is affordable for the average consumer, while also making the development feasible due to the rising cost of construction.
Do we know the rate that these units will be going for?
We do not know.
Do we know if the developer or the applicant will sell the unit after it's developed?
The applicant is the landowner, and they will be selling the plans to the developer. So the contingencies on the land ownership for the developer would then be brought at that time.
And it's just more attractive to add more units, you're saying, to develop it. It's not moving unless we add more units.
Yes, so developers are saying that, unless there's 200 units, there's really no reason for me to engage with it because people aren't going to be able to afford that, so it's going to sit on the shelf, just like the empty parking lot that's currently there.
Is there a reason that there wasn't a infrastructure for the water system to be installed with the original plan?
I'm so sorry. Will you repeat that?
Yes, ma'am. Did you state that there was not a water system in place like it is now, the retention pond
Yes.
in the first drawing?
No.
the
Existing conditions.
Existing conditions?
Yes.
Okay.
the
It was-
original, the original application had for underground detention.
Ground, thank you, Mayor.
It's underground, it's in the original plans.
It's in the original plans, perfect. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Yes.
And now that we've completed the presentations of the plan, this is a public hearing, so I will open the floor to public comment. We will first go with anyone speaking in favor of the project. Please step forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing none, then I will ask anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the project, please step forward and give your name and address for the record. We'll have 15 minutes for opposition.
My name is Tom Flynn. I live at 2358 Eastwood Drive. I would like you to deny this application, and I will also say that the UDO gives you permission to. As we heard, I guess this is kind of speculative. And the UDO says if you don't start development in 12 months, City Council can deny it, or can you turn the camera on? There's a bunch of places where it says if you don't start development in 12 months, you can revoke a rezoning. It also says if you don't start construction of a special permit in 12 months, you can revoke the special permit. So just for that. I understand the UDO says 1 parking space per unit. All the reading I do says 1.5. We are not, the downtown Snellville is not an intensive transit area. In my career, I've walked to work, I've carpooled, I've driven by myself, I've walked to the bus, took the bus to the subway, and walked from the subway to the office. So I've seen a lot of different things. I think you should stay with the 1.5 or 1.45 from the original. There's even going to be just slightly less number of parking spaces because they list 4 handicap spaces. The UDO requires 7. And a handicap space takes 1.5 to 2 spaces, so you would reduce that number. So, and I think that insufficient parking will cause problems with the adjacent owners, towing issues. The shopping center right there already has signs, no overnight parking, will tow, minimum fee, $200 and something. And I think, whether that causes problems and maybe makes it so that it's not let's say a Class A apartments anymore, maybe it's monthly and weekly. Something that I just saw today when I was looking through this, and I didn't bring it up at the Planning Commission, there is no deceleration lane shown. And when I go through the rules, well, one, the applicant's traffic study says that a decel lane is required. Okay, this is from the traffic study. the Snellville Planning Department's case summary and analysis report recommends a deceleration lane, a turn lane, and the Gwinnett County ordinance, as it states up there, the Gwinnett County ordinance requires one. I don't know why this wasn't addressed. I did not see anything other than this in the traffic study where it says, hey, we're not going to do this because. Doesn't say that at all. I have a concern with, let's get, and so this new building right here, next to it right here, is a daycare. The play area for the daycare is right out here, right next to it. And I sat down, my drafting skills aren't that great, but I sat down and I took their plan. Is there any way I can make this a little smaller?
I got you.
If you can get all of what's in the sheet here. Okay. So over here is the daycare play area. Elevation-wise, it's 2 foot below the floor of the parking garage here. And I worked off of there. Oh, and to make the width of the building, I took their drawing. It says parking spaces are 19 feet long, 23 feet in between them. I added a foot on either side for the building wall. The lot is 70 feet wide. The building is 62 feet wide. That gives me 4 feet on either side to the lot line. Okay, so I have a daycare here, 6-foot fence. I figured it was about a foot off the property line. There's hardly, normal scaffolding is 5 foot wide. So you're going to be building a building right over a daycare play area. That's a 3-foot tall kid. To the top of their highest parapet is 76 feet 10 inches above the playground area. In their main area, it's 72 feet 4 inches. So I think would you want your kid at this daycare while this is being built? I've worked on enough construction sites. I know stuff falls. So I think that's another, and your special use permit says that you're supposed to include consideration of the neighborhood. Okay? Now, as far as that area in the back for the retention pond, I actually looked at it. So, currently, here's the Ryan's building, here's the parking lot. This is the high point of the parking lot right here. So everything from there going towards Hugh Drive drains to a catch basin on Hugh Drive. Everything from here, the high point, drains towards the daycare. It runs, you see the blue line, that's where that water currently runs. Where they're putting the retention pond is a high area. The water doesn't go back to those residential areas. So what I would like is a requirement, and there's the greenway, this is behind it. I would like a requirement that any outlet from this retention pond go to the existing retention pond behind Wisteria Place. So, and there's also some craziness or some things that are needed. Right now, the front property line is between the curb and the sidewalk. That's where it shows, that's where their survey shows. The easements for the greenway, which is over here and over here, don't show on their plan. So I don't know what the limits are. And that's another thing I would like to see. When we redid the intersection of Wisteria and North, the city website made a point of saying that the traffic lanes would stay open, but not for pedestrians. So I would like the greenway to stay open during construction. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn.
Oh, and by the way, their trash pickup is, if you want, I'll show you on their plan from previous where it is. It's right here. And you pull in from Hugh Drive.
Thank you. There's 6.5 minutes remaining. Anyone else? Please come forward. You'll have 6.5 minutes, Ms. Bruce.
Good morning, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Gabe Bruce, 1710 Woodbury Run Drive in Snellville. I come before you tonight to request you deny CSC 2601. My comments before you tonight are in addition to the email I sent to you on July 22nd, 2026, which was very detailed. This afternoon, I took the time to reread the Snellville Department of Planning and Development's case summary dated June 23, 2026 in its entirety, and also reviewed the case summary RZ 24-3 and SUP 2402 dated June 25, 2024, when this proposed development was first approved by Mayor and Council. Unless I am not reading the June 2023-2026 case summary correctly, it omits key information related to this change in conditions application. In this case summary, I have not found any mention of the following, even though it is mentioned in the applicant's letter of intent dated May 7, 2026, and the revised one dated July 14, 2026. Number one, the 2026 case summary states, quote, a proposed 10-foot wide pedestrian sidewalk along Wisteria Drive will connect to the existing 10 feet wide sidewalk along Hugh Drive, close quote. However, page 2 of the applicant's letter of intent clearly states that among the proposed change conditions, the sidewalk would be, quote, an 8-foot wide sidewalk. Number 2, the applicant's letter of intent mentions a bioretention pond at the rear of the site, but I have not found any mention of this in the city's planning and development's 2026 case summary. In fact, under the plans Mayor and Council approved in 2024, the applicant's illustrative concept for Wisteria Drive Flats development clearly shows that the existing wooded area is to remain as shown in this diagram where I have made a red circle. So these woods are to remain, and Mayor's comments a while ago, it's a heavily wooded area to the homeowner back here, is because some of these woods that they're proposing to tear down now. Furthermore, in reviewing the proposed site plan for RZ 2403, I've not been able to find any mention of the bioretention pond. In fact, this is from 2024. There's no illustration of a bioretention pond. Now the applicant's requesting the wooded area at the rear of the property be removed and replaced with a bioretention pond approximately 1,045 square feet in size with only a 30-foot, or in other words, 10 yards rear setback. Why is a bioretention pond needed now when the applicant did not include one in the plans that were approved by the City Council in 2024? Were the plans approved in 2024 defective and therefore need to be reviewed again and possibly denied? Also, the current plan, the applicant showed a while ago access to loading area and stuff back in here. This is, my understanding is this is private property. This is shopping center property. There is a orthopedist office right here. We have a lot of medically fragile patients getting in and out of vehicles that they use this end of this sidewalk at this building. If you're trying to have cars go back and forth there, that's going to be a hazard to those patients coming in and out. If I'm wrong anyway in how I understand the reading of the 2020 case summary, I sincerely apologize. If I'm correct, then the proposed decreased sidewalk width and the destruction of the existing wooded area at the rear of the property to now include a previously unapproved bioretention pond are valid reasons that you deny this change in conditions and application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. There is 2 minutes remaining.
Okay, Winnie Ogu, 3173 Newton Square Circle, Snellville, Georgia. So this project will, first of all, increase the amount of traffic that we currently see in that area. But my major issue was one of the statements that says that they're only going to design a 100-year storm 100-year catch basin or storm retention pond. So the rule in Gwinnett County is 100-year for 24 hours. So they only said 100-year and then a 200-year, but they didn't emphasize how long it's going to last, because you're going to have overflow of water, and which is not good. Because currently, which I believe she probably misspoke, but we have the trees there. The trees are there to absorb the water. So the water doesn't just get washed out, it gets absorbed by those trees. Now you take away those trees and the water now gets washed out. And those storm basins, because there is one behind my house, and I can tell you there are two things you're gonna have: trash and mosquitoes. And that's what you're gonna have to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have 1 minute and 6 seconds.
That's all I got. Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. Is there any way to put a sex offender restriction on this building? We've got a daycare over here. We've got a laundromat here with kids running around while the parents are washing clothes. To put a sex offender in that building with a camera looking down on those kids is it's not right. This lady that lives...
I don't know the rule specifically.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
I don't think they can live within 500 feet or 1,000 feet of a daycare center, so they wouldn't be permitted anyway.
Okay, I didn't know that. So the lady that lives in the back has been there 25 years, has seen water in the back of her property running off of she says, a JAG building, and she was not able to make it here tonight. She's against it. She says they've already got 2 retention ponds up higher, and they don't want to live behind another retention pond. She's against it. I'm against it. This is a squeeze in between these 2 buildings. If we want to build a nice Snellville town area, I think this should be restricted. I was for the building on the corner, just to say. I was for this, but I think this is a squeeze. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, time has expired for public comment, so I will close public comment.
The applicant has time to...
The applicant has some time remaining. How much time?
4:32.
Applicant has 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, if you'd like to respond.
Elizabeth Swift. Thank you to everyone who commented. I appreciate your participation. There has been an updated traffic study completed to accommodate for the building, and it did require a decel lane, and a decel lane will be provided. I would like to reiterate that all of these site plans are conceptual site plans. They have not gone through the review process with the Planning Commission. They have not gone through any land disturbance permit review. This is all preliminary. The case at hand is to see if we can increase the unit count from 171 units to 203. And while I hear everybody's concerns about the detention pond, this change in conditions allows us to look at underground detention under that surface parking that would decrease a lot of these concerns. The Public Works Department and the Public Utilities Department are ultimately the ones that decide how stormwater requirements are met, but it is required by law that we capture all rainwater that is going off-site. And we would have a post-development curve number, which is the amount of water that goes off-site that is less than what is currently going off-site. That is the law required by the state. We will always meet the state code by law. As far as the detention to connect to the storm system in the back, that is absolutely possible. We could connect it from the underground detention through the storm easement to that area. As far as the 8-foot sidewalk, as far as we know, and that wasn't part of the conditions of the rezone, and it was reduced to 8 feet for impervious surface counts to reduce the amount of runoff that is coming off of the site. But we thought that 8 feet would still match the 10-foot without coming all the way down to like a standard 5-foot. And in terms of the development within 12 months, we would love to be able to adhere to that, but the fact of the matter is we're here today because we're not able to get that going. We're hoping that you all see that this is a change in conditions that will both serve the public and the client to keep these units within the average user's price range. Somebody that can live, work, and play in Snellville. So thank you all for hearing.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, with that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to recommend approval of 2026-06 with the associated variances, and ordinances.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Discussion by council.
Well, I guess I'm new to this process, but I have some concerns that were not addressed and were not answered. I don't know if we need more time to redraw this or rethink this, but I do have concerns as a council and as the residents as far as allowing additional units with the concerns of the residents and the runoff, the retention pond being put there. There was really no reasonable explanation as to why it was the green space was taken away. So just in the effort to be aligned with our 2045 comprehensive plan, I think we need to really consider everything that everyone has said today. And as a councilwoman, I would love to uphold the 2045 plan according to the residents of Snellville and what we see. We want the downtown. Yes, we do need more housing, but we need it done correctly. And so I stand behind my council, but I also stand behind my residents as to we need a better explanation as to what you're changing the plans for.
Any other discussion by council?
All right, good evening, everyone. My position is not going to be too far off. I also believe, to be fair, being a new city councilman on the job for 8 months, the previous council did about 1 to 2 years worth of research. They had to go through the gauntlet to even get to the position and the number of 171 in the first place. As of now, I believe that the best practice is to go along with what the previous, at the time, experts who had all the education, who sat through all the meetings, who did a lot of the groundwork, which be the 3 that's on here now, to ensure that that 171 was the number that was needed. And I know when they worked on this a couple of years ago, it wasn't just based off what they asked and for the citizens of Snellville, but a lot of it was based off what the property owner came. I'm assuming that you all use the best architects and the best AI software and the best everything to get to a point of 171 in the first place. So if I use that understanding with just a little bit more knowledge and maybe a couple of more of understanding from your position, again, it took them 2 years or a year and a half to get to this point. in the future, for me, I would better be able to, I guess, make a decision that's rooted in that understanding. For now, for me, my decision is rooted in best practice. The city council prior, I believe, made a choice that was rooted in all the information that was needed. So I guess I would say to not only just the citizens, to the owner who also took it upon himself to come to Snellville and purchase the land. No, it's never forever, but I will agree a little bit more information for me to feel a lot more comfortable with what it is that you're asking for. 171 to 239, then back to 203, for me, that's a lot of number moving. That's a lot of data that we need to digest. And again, I'm gonna say for me being the new guy, we had a previous council, he was somewhat an architect, he knew a lot of this information. The council here have been building the city for 15, 20 years in some retrospect, so they are the subject matter expert. So based off that, I would just say that I heard the rally call. I'm retired military, so I kind of picked up on something a little different with understanding the 203 right. I'm gonna leave that part alone, but as a ex-military, I'm like, oh, are we saying that, right, we're gonna look at Snellville different if we vote in a specific way, right? So I would say for me, words matter, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Based off that, I just wanna say whatever I decide here, nothing I do is forever. It's based off my knowledge. So if we come back with more knowledge that makes sense, that I can look down and say, hey, not just from a legal standpoint, but from a best practice standpoint, there's data already exists at the Tomlin. So I understand the parking lot of 1, but we open a 1 to 3 space for people to live. Are we really saying best practice that a person only gonna own 1 car? Right? 1 car. All right, so I have to digest that and see legally based off the information that the city bring for the next time, if that's, how much of that information should I digest? I apologize for being long-winded, but I just want to get the layers of how I think, not only to the citizens, but to the developers, so either side won't say, well, he's saying yes or no for anyone. I just need more information from you all, and then for the citizens, us to understand what the best practice moving forward is. The 40 additional spaces going to move us to the left and right, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at, so I'm still right there.
Anyone else? Mr. Carter?
There we go, there we go. I'll try not to be too long-winded. If I heard correctly, what happened and what was going on in when the 171 were considered and approved, the economy was different? Is that the way you explained that? And to go forward with this project, the minimum amount that would make this project viable would be the 203 rooms. Is that correct? So my point is, it's yes, the council and everyone made that decision about the 171 based on the economy at that time. We all know that the economy has changed drastically in the past 2 years, and what was viable 2 years ago is no longer viable now. And I think that we need to consider that they dropped down from 239 to 203 because that's what makes it viable for the builders and the developer. And if we're going to take it back to 171, we're going to have that vacant, decrepit property sitting for more and more years, and that really makes has a negative impact on our downtown area.
Anyone else?
Mayor, it is my understanding that the underground detention is still an option, correct? So we are not locked into the retention pond that is there. That would be my preference, would be the underground detention area. I was on the council that approved the original plans, and I understand the need for the change. Having sat on Planning Commission and sat on this council long enough, I understand the environment changes not necessarily the ecological environment, just the environment in which we live as a city, as humans in this country. Things change. And the alternative being to continue to look at the Ryans, I do not think is favorable. I don't necessarily think this is ideal, but I think this is the best that we're going to get for that property to make it better for our downtown area. So for that reason, I will support this.
Anyone else? I would just say, one, if council members are requesting more time to consider the changes or want more information, there is the opportunity to table this vote until the next meeting. So I just want, and I'm saying this for the public too, because we do have 3 brand-new council members, in retrospect, not brand new, but you've been up here 8 months or so, and this is really one of the first type of zoning projects that they've been faced with. So there is an opportunity before the vote happens that if someone would like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Carter to amend his motion or withdraw his motion, and second, to ask for a tabling of the matter until the next meeting. So that is one option. I would say I was also on City Council when we approved the 171 units, and just to, I just want to make sure people are clear on the detention pond. That new bio pond that was put in this last plan, it is new with that last plan. At this point, I can only assume that it was just added as another measure because they are putting another building on the property versus just surface parking. But it doesn't change the overall, the majority of the detention is being handled by an underground detention facility that is under the original building near Hugh Drive. It's on the original zoning that we did. You can see it on those plans. Nothing has changed with that. So that was all of the detention that was being done at the time of the original zoning. So there is underground water detention that does not change in the plan. Whether that new pond is needed, necessary, or desired, you know, that is a topic for discussion, and maybe that leans us towards postponing or tabling this matter for until the next meeting to clarify that, if that is a major issue in this decision. But when we're sitting up here too, I think Mayor Pro Tem Carter and Councilmember Hetherington brought up some very good points in that Ryan's building has been sitting vacant for at least 20 years. I think the planning director and I were discussing back when it actually closed. It has been sitting vacant. It has been a source of a lot of complaints throughout the years of when are we going to do something with the Ryans. Well, 2 years ago, we made the decision to allow something to be done about the Ryans. And so now we have the opposite. We have that people don't want anything done with the Ryans, and we want that property to sit vacant. So it is zoned for the 171 units. There wasn't any magic in that number as far as the council went. It was what was requested by the applicant at the time. I understand any of these type development projects, there is a financial aspect to that, and the numbers have to work out. The numbers have to work out affordably. We could deny the increase in units and let them stick to the 171 units. Maybe they find a developer that can do it, but the price on those rental units is going to be outside of most everybody's ability to pay. So that is one of the things, while we don't sit up here and determine what that price is, that is not our job or our role. We are looking at land use when we're making these voting decisions, not on the economic, those economic decisions that come down the road. But the price of those rental units, it will matter on whether something can be afforded or affordable to the tenants, the people that want to move in there. So we could stick with the 171 units, and should a developer decide to develop it and the rents are $4,000 for a one-bedroom apartment, you know, that'll be another issue that I'm sure we would hear a lot about. There's been a lot of talk of affordable housing. This is not the way you get to affordable housing. So I would, I guess I would urge my council members that if there's not enough information at this point, then I would urge that there's a tabling of the final vote to allow that additional time. Or we move ahead with the vote.
Madam Mayor, if I can, I will never ask my co-counsel to vote on something that they don't feel prepared for. And also, there have been few things that have come across in my just shy of 3 years on council that I've really wrestled with what direction I was going to go, as I have with this. So with that in mind, I would say, Mayor Pro Tem Carter, if you will withdraw your motion to allow us to table this, give us some more time, I will also withdraw my second.
Oops. I'll withdraw my motion.
So we have withdrawn the motion to approve 2026-06 ordinance. Is there a motion?
Motion to table SUP, is it 26-06? I'm sorry, my
Yes.
iPad went up. Yes.
We need the.
Oh, we need the, Carrie, if you could say CIC and the SUP numbers.
Yes. Motion to table CIC 26-01 and ordinance 2026-06 to the
I think it's August 10th. Is that
August
right?
10th meeting.
Is that right, Melissa?
Yes, August 10th. Okay, we have a motion to table to August 10th. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second to table to August 10th. Any discussion?
Just a clarifying point, Mayor, that the public hearing has already happened and is closed, so y'all are just tabling the vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's clarify that for the record, that the public hearing portion of the meeting has been concluded. So we are just tabling the final vote. At the August 10th meeting, when this comes up on the agenda, the council will just make their motion and vote. With that, any other discussion by council on the motion to table? Then I will call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor. Any opposed? So we have tabled this to the August 10th meeting. We are done with the public hearing portion of the meeting. We have nothing under consent agenda, no old business. We're moving to new business. We have several items that are all related. Mr. Pepper, would you mind just giving a brief explanation about what we're doing with these resolutions?
Of course, Madam Mayor. So Georgia Fund 1 is a pooled investment option offered by the state of Georgia to all municipalities and counties and boards of education, et cetera, other authorized entities. It's managed by the Office of the State Treasurer and has currently a rating by Fitch Ratings, Inc. of a AAA rating. Essentially, it's just an investment pool that we can join to earn better interest on on the funds that we have. So it's really trying to be better stewards of the money that we've received from taxpayers.
Thank you, Mr. Pepper. And in order to put money into this, it's essentially a glorified savings account. In order for us to do that, we just have to do resolutions for each of the types of funds that we may put money into in the program. That is why you're seeing 5 different resolutions here. They're for each of the funds accounts that we may put money in those savings accounts. So we'll start with item A, consideration and action on resolution 2026-04 for approval of the general fund participation in the Georgia Georgia Fund 1 program. Did I say that right? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2026-04.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Consideration and action on Resolution 2026-05, approval of the 2023 SPLOS participation in the Georgia Fund 1 program. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve consideration and action on resolution 2026-05.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. With a motion and a second, all in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Have item C, consideration and action on resolution 2026-06, approval of the school zone safety fund participation in the Georgia Fund 1 program. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2026-06.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
With a motion and a second, ask for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Have item D, consideration and action on resolution 2026-07, approval of the Tree Bank Fund participation in the Georgia Fund 1 program. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve consideration and action on resolution 2026-07.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. And finally, we have item E, consideration and action on resolution 2026-08, approval of the confiscated assets fund participation in the Georgia Fund 1 program. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2026-08.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
No, I'll take Norman on that one. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. That ends our regular business portion of the meeting, so we'll go to council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Catherine Hardrick.
Thank you, Mayor Bender. Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes. I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I just want to give everyone an update on what's been going on of late. On July 22nd, I had a safety briefing. It was a great turnout. We had members from the Heat Department with Snellville Police Department as well as Code Enforcement who answered a ton of questions regarding road safety, and even we got into the flock cameras, which we recently received some information from Chief Perry regarding the flock cameras and how you can access some of the data. And please continue to look at our website, snellville.gov, to get more information about that. I'm also in talks with Walden EMC. I first want to say thank you to Ms. Patricia Rollins for staying on top of us with the street lights. I can't believe how accurate she is. In speaking with Walden EMC, it's about 42 lights that are out in the city that needs repair. And she was kind of spot on with her research. And I am working with them to make sure we get those lights addressed. They're thinking it should be resolved within the next 7 business days. So we'll keep an eye on that. But again, thank you, Ms. Rollins, for doing that, because we want to make sure Snellville is protected. And the first way we can do that is make sure we're well lit. I also want to bring to attention that some people responded to me regarding their trash service. If your trash service is not being picked up in a timely fashion, please make sure you reach out to Public Works. That's what they're there for. And if you don't want to reach out to them, you definitely can still reach out to me at chardrick@snellville.gov. But we encourage you to please report that, because the more we speak up, the more we as a team in the city can address your concerns. And I appreciate everyone making posts on social media, but the only way we truly can make a response is when you officially make a report. Lastly, South Gwinnett High School has a new principal. They are conducting a community input on July 30th at 7:30 at South Gwinnett High School in their auditorium. Principal Jordan, Ronnie Jordan, has a promotion, but please, if you are a parent, go to Snellville's go to South Gwinnett's website, or please go to Gwinnett County Public Schools website to get more information. And if you have the Parent Square app, please look there as well. A reminder, July 28th, tomorrow, is the last day to vote for Congressional District 13. Please check your voter registration card to see if you are in that district to cast your vote. July 28th also is a rezoning public hearing at GJAC in the auditorium that will start at 7 o'clock. Please check with the Gwinnett County or your commissioner to find out more about that. In addition, Gwinnett County is hosting a millage rate public hearing. Their last hearing is Tuesday, August the 4th at 11 a.m. in person. Please check out and see what's happening with your millage rate from the county. Lastly, if you wanted to make comments on August the 3rd, let me see. Yeah, the deadline to make public comments for the millage rate is August the 3rd by 9 p.m. And you can make those comments via online, because we know everyone cannot make it in person. And just because you're not in person doesn't mean you don't care about your community. So please exercise your right, exercise your voice. And I will rest there, Mayor, with my comments. Thank you, and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Hardrick. Councilmember Rochelle Brown.
Good evening. At our last council meeting, we had some discussion about a parking ordinance at the Grove and about abandoned cars being left and unattended to. I am happy to report that those cars have been removed.
Speak a little closer.
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm happy to report that those cars have been removed. The Grove has really been activated, but there's also been, a lot of people. So driving and parking has been an issue for residents. However, I can say without a doubt the Snellville PD has been on it with cars and parking, and it's really been a good thing. It's been a challenge, with a new development in a community, trying to live, work, play, eat, and sleep in a mixed-use space. So sometimes, it gets a little noisy when you're a resident, but they do adhere to the times, they're shutting things down, and it's pretty quiet after 10 o'clock. I want to encourage you all to visit the ribbon cutting this week on Friday at Parkside at the Grove at 4 o'clock. Also attend the movie Zootopia that will be shown and I think they're having a party at the splash pad for back to school for the kids. It's a way to kick off, our August season. Stay tuned for all of the events in Snellville. But as a resident of downtown Snellville, I think we're doing a good job, and I just thank you all. Please come and see us down there and have some fun. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rochelle. And we'll go to Councilmember C.J. Pitt.
Good evening, everyone. It's a blessing to be here. It is a blessing to be here. First, I would like to thank Parkview Christian Academy. Welcome. Melora School, welcome. Lawrenceville Swanee School of Music. We did a ribbon cutting for them on Saturday. Also, welcome. Councilman Hardrick already spoke about the movement of Dr. Jordan, who will become our cluster superintendent. which is also, a blessing. He came here about 3 years ago, and he really hit the ground running and making sure that community became one of the biggest things here at Saquina High School. That graduation rate went from somewhere mid-70s to 89% right before he stepped out this summer. His goal was 90, so he was literally a few kids off from 90%. Saquina High School have not been at 90% for a little while. So we're moving in the right direction in our community. So I'd like to thank these new schools for coming. That means we have a charter school, a private school, and public school here in Snellville. We have it all. So as we always keep saying, come on down, come join us, be a resident of Snellville. Okay, the biggest thing for me was today. I just want everybody to understand where my position is at. Like I stated before, I am not a no or a yes on anything. I believe that it's my due diligence to get with the individuals that was here prior, get their knowledge, their background, their understanding. We talk already, but I really want to dig in with my mayor who's been here for 20 years. So dig in with Pro Tem Carter and Councilwoman here and really get the information. What I was explaining, there's a lot of numbers moving. So because of that movement of numbers, it would not be right for me to sit here and vote yes, no, or abstain. I'm the type of person, once I get the information, once I get the data, I'm going to make a decision not rooted in my emotions. It's going to be rooted in the data, the legality behind everything that we do. So sometimes we might take a win, sometimes we might take a L. I appreciate us moving it forward. That's going to give your city council the opportunity to argue about it probably a little bit. I want to come to each one of you that had an issue. Mr. Tom, you was one of the reasons that I kind of said what I said, because you brought information that deserves research, deserve for us to look at that, deserve for us to get with our legal and our city managers to ensure that you, and ma'am, I'm sorry in the back, I forgot your name, you also came with information and emails that deserve us to look and make sure we're doing our due diligence. So when we come back and you're upset with us because we might say yes, you understand what position we came from. That's my position here. I just want y'all to understand that, right? Outside of that, I started work this Monday at the school. We're looking for a great school year. I was introduced to Snellville Church of Christ, which is across the street from Briscoe Park, a couple of weeks ago during Briscoe Park Cool Cars event. There's a lot of things moving. I think we've been doing good with branding to understand what we're trying to do here in Snellville. i.e., I'm always say, I know there's things we need to work on. I appreciate the city council in the past and present. Really, we're trying to focus on the future. That's why we're telling y'all to communicate with us. Let us know what's going on. Communicate with us so we then can focus on the things we need in the future while still working on the past issues and some of the things that we need to tighten up in that area. That was long-winded, but I think I want y'all to know we had autonomy on this vote. I'm just going to say I appreciate the mayor, the pro tem. None of the council people approach anybody saying, what's your vote? Do it this way. It was autonomy, like what should happen. And I appreciate that. So that's why I'm glad we're going to table it. And when we come back, just all of us be prepared for the yes or the no. Either way, I've always had a position. You all welcomed me here in Snellville 6 years ago. The area I lived in was built after the 1970s. If it was not for that first expansion in the 1960s, and it took 10 years for my neighborhood to be built, I would not be living here. I have to take that as part of my understanding. I think the mayor kind of brought it, we kind of dual-headed. The amount of love that you get from Snellville, from all of you, the neighbors, people want to move here. We want to move here. You guys are loving people and you make us feel good, so people want to move here. I know what the thing is figuring out the how, the when, and all those things in between, but we can't be mad that you all showed me 15 years ago when I was living in Stone Mountain teaching at Georgia State, I wanted to move here. Coming in here and seeing the Christmas gifts, the Christmas route 15 years ago, leading to the city to go shop at Big Lots, I want to move here. I have to put that a part of my understanding. People want to move here, but that is a blessing, right, that we all need to be a part of. We'll figure out the things that's making us hard, which is why I wanted this to be tabled, so the individuals that came to talk, I can understand where you're coming from, so you can be heard, but you have to also ensure that you hear us, so when the decision is made, you know that it's coming from all us, and we're trying to be, as strategic as possible when we make these decisions. That's all I have. I hope you all have a beautiful week. I start school, come to Britt. You're not allowed there, right? But we have Saturday and Friday at Brit, also a big event. So come on down. We're looking for sponsors this year at Brit. We have a PTO. We're trying to build it up. Y'all have a great, beautiful night.
Thank you, CJ. Councilmember Catherine Hardrick. Heatherington. Carrie Heatherington.
Not supposed to call me Catherine.
I know, I'm struggling with initials.
Listen, there's
and
two
everything
Catherine
up here.
H's up here, and neither one of us really go by Catherine all that often. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. Couple of quick things. Mr. Swayze has already left, but I went to a very, very small private school. I don't get to say this very often. It was actually a little bit bigger than Parkview is. I graduated in a class of 14. I'm coming up on 30 years out of high school. I can still name every single person I graduated with. And the more important point is I still have relationships with some of the people that taught me in high school 30 years out. I very much believe in small private schools with small classrooms and knowing your teachers and knowing them well. So I'm very excited to see that come to Snellville. I've also had, in the last 26 years, friends who have taught there, friends whose kids have gone there. It's a great school. I'm very excited about that. Second, we do a lot of work up here. We work hard for this city, and sometimes we get to do things that are really, really fun. Melissa, if you'll put that first picture up. Yesterday, I got to go present this beautiful lady with a letter from the mayor. I got to speak on behalf of the mayor on the occasion of her 95th birthday. She turns 95 today. Her daughter had to lie to her to get her to go to church yesterday. Told her that the grandkids couldn't make it to dinner tonight, so they were going to go after church. That church took about an hour of their service time to honor this lady. Family member, church member, person after person just came up to speak about her and how kind and gracious she is. She has been a member of her church for 80 years. 8 decades at this church. And then, Erica, the next picture, this lovely lady sitting next to her is the pastor's mother, who is 93 years old. And the pastor said, "Mama, you have to wait, you're not 95 yet." It was just really fun to get to celebrate her and listen to these people speak such blessings and gifts over her. Her family kind of roasted her, which just goes to show her good nature. They teased her and picked on her a lot while loving her very well. So thank you, Mayor, for giving me that opportunity. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Carrie. Mayor Pro Tem Carter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening. Please take notes. We are making progress in making safety improvements at the intersection of the Highway of 78 and North and South Crestview Drives. The Georgia Department of Transportation has provided us with suggested improvements. We will conduct a town hall meeting to discuss these alternatives and get community feedback on Wednesday, August 12th, at 6:30 p.m. This meeting will be focused solely on this intersection, and no other topic will be discussed. We will do our best to keep this meeting at an hour or less, and I'll be putting out publicity about that as soon as possible. Number 2, very important. 3rd District County Commissioner Jasper Watkins is interested in creating a banner for all military veterans who are 100 years of age or older. If you know of someone who fits this category, please submit their name, age, branch of service, and highest rank to him via email at jasper.watkins@gwinnettcounty.com or Nashanta, that's NSHANTA.banks@gwinnettcounty.com as soon as possible. I know we have one definite candidate. Each month, our Snellville Police Department honors those officers who have rendered outstanding service to our community. I'm going to mention 2 of them. Officer Mossman and Officer Hart took actions that removed 7 dangerous weapons from the street of our city. Pay attention to this. 2 of the weapons were assault rifles that were designed for combat and not self-defense. There were two of the weapons were assault rifles. There were, I want to be correct here, 3 or 4 semi-automatic pistols that were converted to fire automatically. These weapons are altered for no other reason than to enhance their ability to kill people. Officer Mossman and Officer Hart saved the lives of people who have no idea that they will continue to live on this earth because of the actions of these officers. One of those people might be sitting here in this room, or they could be someone who is close to you. I think you need to think about that. June of 2026, folks, and that's why I said write down, pay attention. We had a concern about the street lights in June. I did some research, I called Walton EMC, and I made a presentation here in June of 2026, where I contacted Walton EMC. I gave you directions, I'll give them to you again. It does no good to come to council and complain about street lights being out if you have not fulfilled your civic duty by notifying Walton EMC first. They don't have people driving around at night looking for street lights out. They made that very, very clear. They depend on the public to contact them. Now, when you contact them, they will create a work order on all requests the following morning. If you want to use email, pay attention, write it down. Don't say that we didn't help you with this. You go to waltonemc.com. Next, click Customer Service. Next, click Report an Outage. Next, click Outdoor Lighting. A form will come up. Fill out that form. Or you can call 770-267-2505. Now, if weeks go by and nothing is done, bring to me the date and the times you contacted Walton EMC, and I will refer that information to the supervisor. And let me repeat something else. There was some false information presented at this council meeting that Walton EMC is not repairing lights because the fixtures are old. What is happening is they are upgrading all of the fixtures as they go bad. So as they go bad, they have a contractor who comes in and the contractor puts in new fixtures in all those lights. So that is being taken care of, but I repeat. You see a light out, call Walton EMC, send them an email. I've given you the information, and let's see if that works. Thank you, and I hope you all have a good evening.
Thank you, Norman, and I just have a couple of things. I was with CJ at the, did we figure out how to pronounce it, the Meloria School? It's a new private school that opened. They're using space at Grace Church on Dogwood Road. It's just outside the city limits. But had an opportunity, I missed the actual ribbon cutting, but I had an opportunity to get over there while the activities were still going on and meet the owner and the principal of the school. And just very exciting to see a charter school like that here in our community. And also the ribbon cutting from Saturday with the Lawrenceville Swanee School of Music. They might need to add Snellville in there too. This is actually, Valencia Giles is the owner. This is her third location. She opened her first location 17 years ago, so it's not a brand new business, but just brand new to Snellville. They took over the space that was the School of Rock music school that's right, it's in the Michaels Shopping Center. And what a great story she had, and how she started in her business. They have, across all 3 locations, they've got 1,200 students that come for any music lessons, singing, performing. An 11-year-old student of hers played piano, Midnight Rhapsody, and it was beautiful. He's only been studying with them for 3 years, and he's very talented. So very excited to have them here. And I mean, she spoke at the ribbon cutting, and she's been a member of the Snellville or the Swanee community through her business, and the Lawrenceville community through her business. And what she said about Snellville was, it just made me feel good that people come here and they really feel the love. She said everybody that she has worked with from the city and getting her permits, and all of the people who have stopped in and either signed up students or stopped in for information, she said the kindness is just unexplainable. She said that it's a very great, welcoming community, and I love to hear that about our city. I think it is easy to get tied down into the negatives. We can pick apart, the litter and all the things that are going wrong. But I think it's also important that we try to address those issues, but we also look out and see all of the great things that are going on, the great things that are happening in the city, and the things that I know, these council members up here and the previous council members and the city employees all work so hard to provide some great resources, some great service, some great activities for our seniors and our kids. And we really do have a lot of benefits in living in this community and in Gwinnett County as a whole. I mean, when you look at these schools, we've got now Parkview School coming in. I think they're changing their name to maybe Pinnacle Christian School. But, just in Gwinnett County, you can go from preschool all the way through medical school without leaving Gwinnett County. We have PCOM, which is the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. I was very impressed that I could repeat that back to my husband a couple weeks ago. For medical school, we have Georgia Gwinnett College for bachelor's degrees. We have Gwinnett Tech that provides associate degrees and lots of certificates for a lot of different trades. The list goes on and on and on about the opportunities here in education and in recreation as well. So I just hope that people don't lose sight of that in picking apart all of the things that we can pick out that need to still be worked on. Had a great time at the Forever Rod concert. That was a week ago, I think, Saturday. Had a little bit of bad weather bouncing around there, but the concert was great. They put on a great performance, and I hope that you all will join us at the next concert next month. I think it's the Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac on the 22nd.
Yes, Landslide. They will be here on August 22nd. With that, I will end my report, and we'll open the floor to public comments. If you come forward, please state your name and address for the record. Less than 5 minutes on one topic, please.
Thank you, Ms. Hardrick, for getting those lights switched on. I counted 31 this week on 78, and with 8 additional on 124. I don't bring incorrect information. I have all my emails for the last 6 years, and I have handed them over, okay? He got the first initial statement from Walton EMC. This is after that happens. After you put in a repair, it's fixed What do you do the next week, and the next week, and the next week? I have started to see the LEDs come out, and I told Ms. Hardrick that. I have seen the repairmen out on the street at night. I have talked to them. They say with the old fixtures, you're playing whack-a-mole. They go out, you go back and fix. Go out, you go back and fix. I'm not telling stories. I'm telling you what Walton EMC tells me, and then beyond that, what do we do the next week when they go out? Look at the light at the church on Main, on Church Street. It's been out 6 years. It's actually been on and off, but it's been going on and off for 6 years. Look at Burger King across the street, goes on and off. I can name where all these street lights are that go on and off. It's not the initial report he got from Walton EMC. It's after it's repaired. We've got 3 in Harbor Oaks that I've been working with Walton EMC to get repaired on one cul-de-sac. We had 8 to 10 lights on 78 from 124 to Henry Clower Street there that Walton EMC addressed this last week and got them back on. They've been off about 3 months. It's a safety issue for our officers, but the citizens are also paying. I think the budget is, what, $300,000 for next year, whether the light is on or off. We need to get them back on. Those lights on 78 and 124 are just the main lights. In these neighborhoods, we're telling the neighbors to call and get them lit up. That's not a problem. These neighbors, just like y'all, are not going to stop on 78 between here and home and call Walton EMC on these lights. But this is going on too long, 5 to 6 years. I've got pictures of the lights. I've got emails where I've addressed them. It's not the initial repair, is what do you do after that? Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Winnie Ogu, 3173 Newton Square Circle. The reason why I'm here is because I wanted to see if the council can do something about all the trees that is getting cut down. And I know they're trying to rebuild, they're trying to put up houses and all that, but properties, but it's actually causing major ecological damage to where we live. In addition to that, I want, if one of you could actually go to one of these parks that we have in Snellville and try running there. You cannot, because it smells like gasoline. Try it just one day, early in the morning, when cars have not started even driving in there. You would notice that it's basically impossible to do it. So the rest of us have to drive outside of Snellville, 30 minutes down, either to Stone Mountain or past Lawrenceville, just to be able to work out, because we cannot do it in the city because the city smells like gasoline in the morning. So if there's something they can do, plant more trees, instead of cutting down all the trees that we currently have, especially in the parks, that would really help out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Bruce, 1710 Woodbury Run Drive. I just wanted to give Mayor and Council an update. Especially Mayor, you know that I have been instrumental in issues with the post office parking lot and with the shrubs that were thankfully cut down and removed. However, since the shrubs have been cut down and removed, when it rains as it does today, we have a lake wisteria because there is a gap in the retaining wall. And I went by there today after it finished raining and took some pictures. And because my understanding is that Wisteria Drive is maintained by Gwinnett County, I sent an email to a contact at Gwinnett County DOT today, and they said they are going to be looking into it. But it is a big hazard having Lake Wisteria there after it rains because traffic going from 78 towards 124 on Wisteria, that lane is impassable because of the water that's ponding on the road. So I just wanted to let you know that I have contacted Gwinnett DOT, and hopefully it'll get addressed soon. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Good evening. My name is Kyrie Dixon. I will be quick. I'm the owner of Divine Beverage Services, doing business as Scooter's Coffee, and this wonderful building that's been over here for
Oh my goodness, are you about to open?
We are getting close. I just wanted to come and introduce myself to say thank you for all the support. Although I am not the original franchisee, I am the current franchisee. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you, Jason's been great. And I just wanted to say hello. This is the first location in Snellville. Hopefully more to come, but I just wanted to say thank you for all the support so far. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
With a motion and a second, all in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We are done for the evening. I appreciate you all coming out, and please be safe going home.